Smash that like button and that subscribe button. You see me working hard for the money over here. Subscribe for more exclusive content.
If you're a trustee, you know this feeling all too well. You get handed this document, this wall of text. It's dense, it's complex, and it is just loaded with jargon. Your fiduciary duty is to execute it perfectly, right? But first, you got to actually understand it. So let's talk about how we can turn that document from a huge obstacle into your new interactive ally. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the modern trust maze that you're up against. Then, I'll introduce you to your digital co-pilot. We'll walk through how to upload and analyze your documents, then tap into some interactive intelligence, and finally, how to turn all that data into rock-solid decisions. You know, being a trustee today, it honestly feels like you're navigating a compliance maze in the dark. The stakes couldn't be higher, the complexity is just off the charts, and sometimes the language feels like it was designed to be confusing. I mean, just look at this sentence, pulled straight from a modern trust. Trust assets may be disaggregated into SPV tranches for CECL modeling. Okay, what does that actually mean for what you need to do today or tomorrow? This is exactly the kind of jargon that can stop a fiduciary dead in their tracks, and that creates uncertainty and, frankly, risk. And it's never just one weird term, is it? You're suddenly expected to be an expert in accounting with CCL, then in crypto with ERC 3643, and oh, by the way, you also need to understand global financial messaging with ISO 2022. It is a wall of jargon from totally different worlds, and somehow you have to master it all. So how in the world do you conquer all this complexity without spending weeks or a fortune on legal and accounting consults? Well, the answer lies in a new kind of tool, a digital co-pilot that's designed from the ground up for fiduciaries just like you. Think about it. The old way is just painful. Manually flipping through hundreds of pages, hitting Control F a million times, hoping you find the right keyword, and always worrying that you missed some critical detail. The new way? It's interactive. It's AI-powered analysis where you can just ask questions in plain English and get instant answers with sources to back them up. And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky future tech. It's a really simple process that turns your static documents into a living, breathing knowledge base. Let me show you how it works. It's really just a simple three-step process. First, you securely upload all your documents, the main trust agreement, your standard operating procedures, any amendments. Second, the AI gets to work. It reads and understands not just the words, but the structure and the key terms. And then, step 3, you just start talking to it. You ask your first question.
Okay, this is where the magic happens. This is the interactive part that changes everything. You're no longer just a passive reader of your documents, you're now in an active conversation with them. You can ask for exactly what you need at the very moment you need it.
So let's get practical. Let's start with a really common, action-oriented question. As a trustee, you have to know your daily obligations to stay compliant. So you just ask the system directly, what are my daily duties for the sweep account? No more hunting. And boom, you get an immediate, clear answer. Idle cash gets swept daily. Simple. But here's the most important part, that little citation at the end. This isn't just an answer from a black box. It's a verifiable fact. You can click that source and see the exact clause in the original document. That gives you total confidence for any audits or compliance checks. All right, let's try something a bit more complex. Let's move beyond just finding facts and ask for an explanation. We'll ask the system to take a really dense concept like CECL compliance and just translate it into plain English for us. And there you have it. The tool doesn't just find the term, it defines it for you, specifically in the context of your duties as a trustee. It's your job to calculate and record future losses quarterly. All of a sudden, a vague, scary compliance term becomes a clear, actionable task. This is how you go from confusion to true comprehension. Okay, now for the ultimate test, right? This is the real game changer, turning that dense legal text into an actual implementation plan. This is the bridge from just understanding something to actually doing something about it. So let's ask the tool to create a checklist for implementing ISO 20022, based on the trust's specific rules. And just like that, the system pulls out the core requirements and turns them into a simple to-do list. This isn't abstract legal language anymore. It's a project plan. You can literally hand this checklist to your technical team to make sure you're compliant. Think of the time and the reduction in error right there. It's huge. So let's bring it all home. This whole process, from upload to analysis to interaction, it's all about one thing: empowering you, the trustee, to move from being overwhelmed by data to making confident, informed, and defensible decisions. The transformation is just crystal clear. Understanding your daily duties goes from hours of manual review to getting an instant checklist. Ensuring compliance goes from expensive consultations to just getting simplified explanations on demand. In onboarding a new co-trustee, that goes from days of painful briefings to just sharing a link to a queryable notebook. The efficiency gains are just massive.
What this does is fundamentally change the nature of your trust document. It's no longer some inert file sitting on a shelf or on a hard drive. It becomes an active, intelligent partner, a source of real, actionable intelligence that you can talk to at any time.
Look, you've been entrusted with incredibly complex, high-stakes responsibilities. So the only question left to ask is this: are your tools powerful enough to help you meet them?